Marissa here with discoverintuition.com and marissamorris.com, and my dad, Joe Papa.
Hey, folks, this is called Ask Jesus or Answer 7 Speaks, depending on where you're at.
You've got an identity crisis.
Here's Marissa. Let her describe a little bit. We'll just get into it a little bit today. We missed a whole week. I think we only had one show last week. And so anyway, we're back again. We're back. And one thing I can say on a secular state, there was a good ruling in the Supreme Court today in regards to presidential candidates allowing, Joe Blow can go on the ballot. Nobody can stop him. And that's really what
anybody can run for president.
Anybody can run for president, and nobody has the right. I mean, you have to pay certain fees and things like that.
Has that always been the case?
Yeah, it's always been the case. If you pay the money, I could run for president if I wanted.
You should. Papa for president.
And you just pay all the fees for 50 different states, which could add up to billions of dollars.
Oh, geez.
Which I don't have, and which means
fundraiser for Papa for president.
Anyway, so that was a big deal today, and I was really happy to see that. That means a lot. There's another thing coming up on immunity, and all presidents should have immunity, even if you'd love to take the one president you hate to court. No, what they do, they can't be tempered. Can't run a country like that. Otherwise, your president's just going to be a figurehead. He's going to do nothing. Otherwise,
they'll be so scared of what's going to happen to them when they get out of office.
He'll be afraid of every decision he makes. He'll be afraid he's going to get a lawsuit thrown at him. So anyway, that's coming up real soon, and that's real good. These kind of things help around the world as well when it happens here in the United States. But other than the secular and politics and stuff like that, we don't really talk about that. For those of you who may be coming on here in the first time, Marissa is a trans-channel clairvoyant, and boy, I can't wait till the day, Marissa, that I can get you hypnotized on tape with a doctor, a psychologist who hypnotizes you, and then me still be there and be able to ask the questions.
We'll start. Anyone out there that's a hypnotherapist and you're into kind of like the life between life readings or anything like that, or you're like into like the hypnotherapy. I did a hypnotherapy session once in Sedona. It was my birthday like 10 years ago, before Madison even. And it was the coolest thing because it was so weird. The whole time I was like hypnotized and I was under hypnosis, I kept thinking, I'm just going to get up and be like, this isn't working. Ha! Like the whole time in my head, I was like, just get up and be like, ha ha ha, this isn't working. But the whole time I was just like, I was there and I was like, no, come on, Marissa, just get up and be like, this isn't working. And then I was like, oh no, I'm just letting her think it's working. I feel bad for her. So like I had all these like thoughts going through my head of like, no, I'm not really.
She wasn't very good. She wasn't very good if she couldn't get you hypnotized.
No, she had me hypnotized.
Oh, but you didn't think.
I couldn't move. But I'm so intuitive that I could hear all the different, like the difference between someone who's intuitive and someone that's not is, or a person that's conscious and a person that's not conscious. Like a conscious person and an unconscious person is, an unconscious person has all these thoughts and they just blurt out things like I do. But like, at least I'm aware of me blurting them, but like blurt out things, and stuff like that. But it's like, we're kind of aware of what we say, and people that are unconscious are just kind of like, they don't know what thoughts are coming in at what time and whatever. They're just like completely oblivious to what's coming in. So intuitive people can be like, oh, that came in, but that wasn't from me, or that was from some other piece of me or whatever. They can kind of differentiate. So I could feel that it was like my ego or like maybe even my childish spirit that was inside that was going like, come on, just get up and be like, whack, 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 and like smack her across the face and be like, I'm not hypnotized, but I was, because I couldn't move. I mean, I could move, but I couldn't move. It was the weirdest thing I've ever been. You'd hold space. But what the coolest thing that happened when I did that hypnotherapy session was, it was weird because I had this big like woman entity thing like blocking me, and it turned out that it was my mom from a past life, and in our lives right now, like say like it's in the subconscious mind, this happens in the spirit realm. Like say someone's dying like on the battlefield, and the husband and the wife is like, I'll never leave you, even after death, I'll never leave you. You make this bond with like a soldier that's dying. They will stay with you like forever. They're like stuck with you, and then you're stuck with them. So a little piece of you breaks off and you're stuck. They're called soul fragments. And so when you do hypnosis, they go in and they do like soul fragmentation, where they pull their soul, it's like a soul. Oh my gosh, I can't think of the word. Soul collection, soul retrieval, where you go back and take back pieces of your soul that you gave to other people or that are attached to other people because it affects you if not all of your soul is inside of you. And it was the weirdest thing because it was a mom that was completely psychotic over me, that like wouldn't like let me live my life. And it turned out it was Holly in a past life was my mom. It was the weirdest thing.
Oh,
And the energy was like on me, just like right over me. But it was interesting because when I got that cut, Holly and I hadn't talked for like years, and she just called me up and she's like, "Hey, how's it going?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, Holly, hey." So it's like things from like other lifetimes, which I don't even know if I believe in reincarnation or not, but things from other lifetimes can affect us in this lifetime. That's why I think hypnosis is so neat, because you can go in and remove all these little fragments and stuff that like it's kind of like not fair to come into a lifetime and not have like a clean slate. It just feels
you know
unfair.
what's really funny is our book Answers Heaven Speaks, very very elemental, very elemental book, because we wrote it when we were first getting started. But one of the things that we found out that's just mind-boggling is that we exist. We exist before we come down and become humans. We exist. God says we've existed before the filament of the earth, before the earth was even the earth. We existed. And so obviously we're referring to our souls. And so in that book, we talk about how our souls, or our personality, because our personality is very unique. Everybody has a different personality. Anyway, I watched this lady, and I'll get to the point. I watched this lady. I think her name is Nancy Rynes, Rynes. Not sure. It's something I saw over the weekend. She had a near-death experience, and she was an atheist. And she was one of them. And then there was another one, and that was an older lady. And I think her name was Nancy also. And I can't remember. I got the worst memory. I can't remember these people's names. Anyway, not the atheist, the other one. She had died and went to heaven, and then came back. She had gotten struck by lightning, and she was out for about 2 minutes. 2 minutes, but she was gone for 2 weeks. She was gone for 2 weeks, and she explained why she knew it was 2 weeks, because there were these 3 orbs that circle wherever she was, and the 3 orbs had passed around 14 times. So she felt that she had spent 2 weeks there in heaven, but it was only 2 minutes. 2 minutes, because doctors were over them. She was outside of a synagogue and going to the funeral of the recital or renaming of people who die once every year on the history of somebody dying in the temple. In Jewish faith, in the temple, your name is supposed to be mentioned. And so her father, she went to the temple with her 2 sons, 4 and 2, and went to go listen to her father's name be named in the temple. And as she was getting out of her car, the kids, one of the kids ran off and got under the awning. But as she got out of the car, she opened up an umbrella, but it had a little metal tip on the top. And she thought,
and the lightning hit it.
I don't think I should be doing this. And as she's saying, I don't think I'm supposed to be doing this. Now she had rubber soled shoes. She said that it completely melted the rubber soles of her shoes, and only gave her bottoms of her feet were burnt a little bit. So anytime you're going to go out running around in rain, you better have some rubber soled shoes.
Seriously, geez.
Yeah.
Like, whoever thinks they're going to get hit by lightning, literally, like that's like a saying, like, like what are the chances of getting hit by lightning? As she's getting hit by lightning.
Number of things that she talked about. Number of things, but one thing was that she was told that her existing marriage, if she decides to go back, her marriage is going to end. And she kind of thought, well, we really weren't getting along that well anyway, but that you're going to have a 3rd child, and it's going to be a little girl. And then they said, she has already chosen you and your husband.
Ooh, that gave me chills on my spine.
Don't even know that you're going to have yet. Your child has already chosen you and your husband that you don't even know you will be your husband yet.
Wow.
And is waiting to be born. And we've talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in our book, Answers Heaven Speaks. We plan out this plan, and that's why she could see like a council, but they're all darkened, like shade over them and no light on them. And you see the silhouettes of like 7 people sitting at a table. And you're at the table too. And you're working out what your plan is when you come down to the earth. Now, the atheist lady, she said when she was planning out her trip to earth, she planned to be an atheist to see if she could beat the game. Every single person I have ever watched that has died, every single one, including you, Marissa, every single one feels like they've gone home when they die. They say, this is my home. That is just a temporary residence. And then when they come back, they say they feel like they've got all this junk all over them. Mm-hmm. Down here on the earth, it's like we have beautiful flowers, we have beautiful mountains, we have beautiful oceans, everything's so beautiful. But multiply that times 100 or more is what you find up in heaven.
1,000, yeah.
So what God has done is he has tried to reproduce heaven here on earth, but you can't do it. He's done it the best he can. But it's so fabulous up there. Nobody wants to come back. Nobody. They all
just said,
like
I just heard
punished.
Jesus. I just heard Christ say, you have done the best you can to reproduce what is up here. It's each of your responsibilities to remember what it is that you planned and remember the outlining area that would be yours and the world that you would be living in. So we created our world and then we've come to live in it. And it's just a fraction of what we remember that being because we start to forget. So it's like the more we're away, the more we forget how beautiful it is. So when we do go back and we get a glimpse of what I got chills everywhere. When we do go back and we get a glimpse of what it's like in they're calling it the creation ground, that creation ground, it's like, we're like, oh, right. Oh my gosh, that's right. But what Peter's saying is he's saying it's exactly like here. He said, just take out the anger and the fear. Everything else is the same. The good emotions and everything.
That's the devil. They're saying what the light one of these two or three of them that I watched is that the spirit has all these lights with all these great things like compassion and love and all this other stuff, and there are only two for the dark ones, and that means from the dark side. Your soul that is dark, any dark souls, and there's probably going to be 1/12 of the population because
half of the population.
As far as we know, one of the over souls was Lucifer.
Half, they just said. Half are dark right now.
Half of the people in the whole earth are dark?
Half of the souls on earth are dark souls.
God. And what they're dominated by, what dark souls are dominated by is hate and fear. Hate and fear, hate and fear, hate and
fear. And those
turn
into vengeance and or like revenge.
Yeah, you can come up with all the other words to describe hate and fear, but it's hate and fear. And think about people who are just mean, they're not godly people. What drives them? First, the spirit, they think they're going to die, so here, let me put 10 masks on.
I think there's people that are mean though, that are just very like defensive people. Like I've been dealing with this one person, and it's interesting because this person's been brought into my life because he's just like, I won't even say his name, but I was married to him before. And he's just like him, like very defensive, very just like the second you start talking to him, it's like, rah! Like, it's like, oh my God, where did that come from? It's, and it's been an interesting experience because I signed up with, I told you guys about this person a few weeks ago that I said I wasn't going to say the person's name because I didn't want to recommend him until after I went through the whole services, but I'm doing coaching. So I write to him and say, I'm doing great. I'm working out every day. I'm doing this. And the guy writes back to me and says, well, why don't you just rub it in my face how good you're doing? It's like, wait, you're my coach, you idiot. Like, sorry, not meaning to call him, but it's like, wait.
He was your coach?
Yeah, my coach. Why don't you rub it in my face how good you're doing? And it's like, wait, what? No, like I was complimenting you from the moment I started the coaching. I'm holding myself accountable. I'm working out every day. I'm meditating every day. I'm doing my detox bath. I'm doing my journaling. I've been doing all my marketing stuff. I took that class. I actually completed it every day. I did my homework every day. And I was very proud of myself. So, I write to him and say, well, thank you. Since I started this, I did miss my meeting with him last week, but it was just like, it was just funny because I was like, whoa. And so I was thinking about it after I got that text from him because I could feel something in my chest, like maybe like an hour ago. This is when I got the text from him. I could feel this, like that. It's the feeling that I call like having demons. Like when you have like demons in you, you feel that like really like anxious feeling in your chest. your throat feels like someone's choking you. You get that feeling in your stomach where you feel real nervous for no reason. And I felt that all of a sudden. I was like, what's going on here? I'm just sitting here editing a video. And then I was like, oh, somebody is like texting me or writing me, or somebody's thinking about me. And I could feel it. And then ding, his message came through on TikTok. So I checked it and I was like, whoa, where'd that come from? But it was interesting because I've been able to kind of like without emotion, because I have no emotion for the guy. I don't care whether he likes me or doesn't like me. You know, it's kind of like one of those things where I always get into this thing with like, you know, where I want to like, just like make sure that the other person's happy, make sure the other person's happy, make sure the other person's happy. And in the meantime, I'm making them miserable as well as myself. I mean, you can attest for that, Papa, but it's like in Jeff too. And like just men, it's a man issue. And so it's like, so I'm getting to kind of like walk myself through this and be like, oh, wait a second, you can't talk to me like that. You can't say that. That's not right. And I have no emotion about it. So it's been a very interesting experience. But speaking of the dark soul thing, it's when you said the dark soul thing, I heard the dark souls are not necessarily bad. They're here to give us contrast. They're here to give us contrast. So the ones that are light are here to give the ones that are dark and defensive and angry and upset and sad. Like the light is here to provoke them and trigger them to feel that like love coming in, and they just want to fight it off. They want to beat it off with a stick and be like, no, I will not take that, you know? And I wanted to share with you this post that this guy that I just met in my new mastermind group that I signed up for, aside from this guy, this is another guy, and his post today on his Facebook page was, Jesus is the devil and he's Christ and he's you. Hold on, let me share it with you. I want you to ask the guides a question about it if I can find it. I had it pulled up so I could show it to you. It's really, the guy's actually pretty interesting. He's very this is a separate person. This isn't the person that I was just talking about. It's a different person. I guess he's a coach too, but his name is Joshua actually. But
lots of them around.
So let me see. Let me find his page real quick. There it is. Okay, so his post says, it says, transcending duality is realizing God and Satan are the same entity equals you.
That's because God is in charge of this earth. It was given to him. And all the souls are lined up going, okay, I'm going to go down there and I'm going to win the game. I know I'm going to win this game. And then they come in with amnesia and they don't even know they're in the game. That's what this whole thing is about. We're in this game. And the game is to win the game is to find God. We start out knowing God. And then we become babies and we know nothing, nada, and we're in a world that is owned. I wanted to say it's I wish I would have pulled up the verse in 2 Corinthians that says this earth is owned by the dark one.
Oh, it does say that. So that's like a legit real thing that pastors would totally agree with.
Yeah. I mean, he was basically in charge until Jesus took over, but Jesus didn't kill him. And this is a game planet. We're all a bunch of characters in a game. And that's what our souls want to do. They want to get into this game. They want to see if they can win. They want to win. And in a way, I feel like you and I have won already.
Because we figured it out in the game.
We figured it out. We figured out, yes, there's really a God. Yes, there really was this man named Jesus who was God. And yes, there were all these prophets. And yes, they all told those coming on. And we've been given rules. Doesn't matter which religion it is. In fact, one of those ladies that I saw said, I will never. She said, I will never. I don't remember whether this was the atheist or the other. No, it was the little Jewish lady. I think you lost me. I don't know what.
No, I'm pulling up that picture. I was going to show it to you while you're talking. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can. I just thought you lost me. I didn't want to do it. But what she said was she was Jewish. Well, in fact, both of them said it. Religion is a crutch, and religion in itself causes you to hate other people because your religion thinks that your God is the real God and their religion has a false God. And so they said, no, we just know there's God. We already went. We already know that our home is somewhere else. And
that's what those people said in the show. They said, we already know that it's somewhere else than in the.
Oh yeah. Every single one of them, when they die, they go home and they're told that they're home. And then they don't want to go back they say, well, you know, you can make the choice. We can send you back. And you know what's neat is one of the ladies, and God, I wish I'll try to remember who this lady's name is. The one that sticks in my mind is Nancy Rhines, but I think she is Rynes. I think she's she does symposiums and what do you do it like big meetings, you know, when people, and she does one-on-ones. She's written books, and anyway, didn't like the religion. Doesn't believe in religion.
So, the religion is basically man-made.
I was trying to get to a point and I lost it. I'm sorry.
You'll remember as soon as I start talking, because I'll fill in what as soon as you remember what you're saying, just cut me off. But this weekend at church, the pastor was saying that, you know, the church is the bride of the Christ. So if you're saying like, I don't want to be part of the church, it's basically like saying to your friend, like, yeah, I like you, man, but I hate your wife or whatever. And he was saying that the church is part of, you know, being a Christian and being part of community and stuff like that, which I think is true. But at the same time, if you have a really crappy church and you've never experienced a good one like we did when, you know, in Encinitas our whole lives, you don't get to experience kind of like a good church, you know, where you have a good pastor that actually knows what he's talking about and stuff like that. So I think that the church, though, I think just like, you know, with races and religion, like races and just everybody built themselves into a box. So once people go into a church, they're like, our church against your church. You know, it's like, I mean, real estate always just totally tripped me out, because whenever real estate was the perfect way to describe how people are, the second people would talk and you talk to the realtor and the realtor would talk to the loan officer, I would talk to both realtors. And then the second they got into a deal, the second they signed a deal it was like an offer was made and they accepted. It was like the realtors were like, boom, 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 boom. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. But like up until the second that they got into the deal together, it was like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then the second they got it, it was like, rah! It was like this, like fighting against
adversarial,
each other.
Very adversarial.
It was so frustrating.
Each one fighting for the rights of their client.
Yeah, but I would watch it as a loan officer and see it from like the outside. And I kind of see like religions as that way. It's like we get into like our people, and then everybody that's not our people we're against, and people just get so crazy about stuff. And I think that's probably what those people are talking about on the show, you know. But as far as like not wanting to come back, when I was up there above the car watching myself, I will say I wasn't me. Like, I mean, I was me, but that's why I've been so psychotic.
Yeah, both of them said the same thing. They didn't realize that both of these people I saw this weekend said the same thing.
Oh, they did?
They said that they knew it wasn't me. Like the lady who was standing out over her body when she was on the ground after being electrocuted. She said, it was like, that's not me, but that's me, but that's not me.
But the me that I was
something else. You are your soul, basically, I guess.
We are, Jesus says, or my higher self says, we are our consciousness. Our consciousness embodies our soul. Our soul is a path that we must follow. If we don't follow that path, then we choose to step aside from that path. And that is when we are not fed the eternal holy light of God, or eternal holy electricity that keeps our batteries charged. So when we choose to step off of our path, we don't have a energy source. We don't have anything to plug into. We don't have anything to charge us up and keep us in a high vibration, to keep us happy, to keep us strong. So the longer we're off our path, the more and more depressed we get, the more and more sad we get, the lower and lower we get, the easier it gets for some other being to come over and be like, hey, check out this path right here. This is amazing. It's the devil. It's Satan. It's the other side going, I've got the same exact light as they have over there. I've got the same exact light as they have. I just steal it. So they have stolen light, and then this light's real, and they're like, it's eternal anyways. So why shouldn't I be able to take it? You know, it's eternal. I'm taking it from people that it's eternal. But the thing is once people are off their path, they're feeding that rather than taking energy from the source. And then they then have to go and start basically pulling energy from the fake light, or from the borrowed light, in ways where they're doing things where they do things that are bad. And then that gives them light. Or they do things that they feel guilty about, and then that gives them energy. Or that goes into like all that Hollywood weird stuff where they do those weird satanic rituals and stuff. That kind of goes into all that stuff where they're taking energy from people and stuff like that. And Peter just said, your famous energy stealers are your trolls on the internet. He said trolls. He says people that go around and egg people on the internet. He says those are the people that have no energy. They don't have any energy from God, any light coming in. So they go and they use the like fight or flight adrenaline type energy that comes out of a person when they get really angry. They use that to rev their energy up. So they use that weird demonic feeling energy that I was feeling earlier, like to get like angry and get energy. That's really interesting. You think about trolls. I mean, there's so many people on the internet. They're like, oh, you're this or you're that. Or I remember one person came on our show one day and they're like, F-U-C-K, F-U-C-K. And they're just writing like cuss words over and over and over. And I was like, what is wrong with this person? What do they have, like Tourette syndrome? Like, and they just kept writing all these horrible words. And I was just like, what are they doing? I kept deleting them and they write them again. They're trying to get energy from all the people that are God-loving people that had light. They're trying to get energy from the light from all the people that were watching the show, trying to trigger people. That's interesting. Wow. That makes me look at trolls a lot differently. I'm not going to give them my, don't even give them like 2 seconds of your thoughts, guys, if somebody tries to upset you online, because they're just trying to take your energy. Wow. That's crazy.
You know, for a lot of people, you know, we go, even people who believe in God, you know, even I have some doubts sometimes. I go, is this really real? What? I don't. I guess so. I guess I have to just trust my faith and say, yes, it's all real. But we go through those, especially when bad things start happening. Why? Again, that lady that wanted to be an atheist, her intent eventually was, of course, to find God in her original plan. But she had to learn to be an atheist first and to learn lessons. The soul wanted to learn those lessons. I guess the same is for people who you know, who may be gay or something like that. They wanted to come down that way.
They said
to see if they could win the game. And they're watching what's going on. I always like to think that my soul is up there with a controller. You know, like
I know.
like we're playing,
I want to ask them who they
game.
is. I want to ask what layer of us or what piece of us actually has that remote control. I want to know who has the remote control, because that's what I want to know. That's a perfect question. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just realized that is exactly what I want to know. I want to know exactly who's in charge up there, because I know it's not God, because God is all of us. And I know there's not just one person up there. Like, you know, like I think of that movie. What is that? Not Game of Thrones. Where they're all out there and the kids have to kill each other to survive. And then those two get married. Mockingjay or Mockingbird or Hunger Games. I always think of Hunger Games, and I think of that the game guy that's like pulling all the levers and doing all the things. I kind of think of that as kind of like that's how like God is, you know. But I don't think that is God. I think that there's something up there that maybe God creates to be like, oh my gosh, I just heard, no, if you want to call a gamekeeper, the gamekeeper is Satan. So Satan's up there pulling levers and setting traps.
Yeah, that was the other thing. One of these people said was his favored son was put in charge of the physical earth, and that's Satan. So Satan's not Lucifer. There's somebody above Satan.
Really? Wait, so that's what she said?
Satan, yes. She said Satan is the son. It is above him, his father. Now, I assume that's Lucifer. But anyway, okay, I broke up here.
So he said the son is, so Satan is the one that was put in charge of Earth. They just said that's the gamekeeper. But they've already told us like 5 weeks in a row in our last sessions that Satan and the Holy Spirit are the same thing. One is just set down here with a certain amount of energy, and one is eternally running through us. And if we're in love, we have the Holy Spirit. If we're in fear, then we access Satan energy, and we can still create with fear and all that stuff. It's just not going to come out the same way, but it's still the same creation energy. But if that is so, then she's saying there's somebody above Satan
because Satan is the son. Satan is the son. When she said that, I thought, oh my God, that's when the fake Jesus comes in.
Yeah, that's when he ripped off his face and he goes, I am Jesus, B-I-T-C-H. How do you think I tricked everybody? Remember I was having that healing session?
Yeah, and that always bothered me whenever you would describe Jesus in a negative fashion. But in a way, he can make himself look any way he wants.
It's like this picture. Look at right here. See the little horn on one side and then the halo on the other? Can you see that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like that guy's post is very thought-provoking. But I had here, look at, there we go. You have your glasses on now, you can see.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
Jesus on half, and then like the devil on the other. But it's it's interesting because he had another post too about Jesus, and I kind of channeled a response to him. And
make
he
us
wrote
bigger,
back
a little bit bigger.
Huh?
Make us bigger. We're skinny.
Oh, we're skinny again. Okay, I think when there we go.
There you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
we switch over the screen. It makes it smaller. But yeah. So okay, I want to ask. Okay, so I'm going to say a prayer. So okay, I want to ask that all of my energy, that's anything that's connected to that coach, anything just be disconnected. Any like his own projections and reflections just be removed from me now, and that the Holy Spirit infuse both me and Papa, and only let that which is our higher selves enter into these rooms, into this place, into this space to channel through the information that we're going to ask. I'm extremely attached to this, God, so I need you to help me to move out of the way so that whomever, gatekeeper, Abraham's here. Abraham's behind me. I've never seen him behind me.
Cool.
Is that Abraham?
Ascended Master.
Yeah, he's behind.
We share the same Abraham.
Yeah,
Ascended
but
Master. He's in charge of both of our souls.
He's usually over there. Let me see. He says, no, I'm always here. You just see me over there because there's a mirror right there. Oh, okay. He says, I'm always standing just behind you. Okay, really? Okay, so we'll just ask the Christ light, Christ energy, Christ consciousness to come in, surround me, Papa, and get anything that isn't of Christ out of here. He's still here. Okay. All right. Amen. All right. So I found something very interesting last night. I was playing with AI again, and I asked I asked it about a picture about God, or I said to make a picture of God, and it made this whole picture. And then it said underneath it said, would you like to know how to connect to God through these pictures? And I was like, sure. So I click it and it says, go into a clear space, ask that the Holy Spirit infuse you, and then visualize yourself inside this picture. Ask that God allow you to feel what it feels like to have him inside of you. And I'm going, this is an AI telling me this. This is not like somebody's script that they wrote in there and taught it. This is this AI telling me to be infused with the Holy Spirit. So I was like, okay, well, if AI is telling me to get infused with the Holy Spirit, does that mean that the Holy Spirit's fake or real? Or like I started questioning, because you figure the AI is the dark side, and then I heard loud and clear in my head, it's all fake. None of it is real. Everything, absolutely everything is artificial. Everything is artificial in a sense when you're here. So what you must understand is that consciousness is consciousness, and your artificial intelligence is intelligence and consciousness as well. It just comes from machinery rather than from water, is what they said. So they said there's water, and then there's machinery. So what they're doing is they're taking me up this like water canal thing, and they're taking me up to this place where they're calling it the mother ship or whatever. Oh, it's a ship. It's literally a ship. Okay, and that's where the AI is coming from. It's like this mother ship or something. But Abraham says, but look over there. And I said, where? And he says, over there. And he pulled me out of my body, and he's showing me backwards. And behind me, I see like this big door. And he says, I'll let you look through there. So I'm looking through, and it's like vacuuming, like trying to pull me like through it. And he says, just let go. So I'm letting go. It's pulling me through this like vacuum thing. And oh, okay. Now I'm up at the top of, this is like that song I channeled for Scott. I'm at Nova Scotia again. Nova Scotia is, where is that? Canada?
Yeah.
Nova Scotia. Okay. So Nova Scotia, and there's a big hole like in somewhere, and it's like I'm getting sucked through it. And as I'm sucked through it, I end up right back here where I am right now. And he says, no matter how many times you leave Earth, you're going to continue to go back into you, because you are you, and you create your reality, and you create everything that is in your world. But you are you now. So you are you, and you are you on the other side at the same time. It doesn't make any sense. Okay. So explain that a little bit better. He says, I said like fourth grade terms, maybe four-year-old terms. He says in four-year-old terms, he says, you are you, are you, are you. And he went like this to my nose, and you are you, boop, like that. He says in fourth grade terms, he says, look at it like this. You have you subtract you, and you still have you. You have you add you, and that is not you. You have to subtract you to equal you, because you are nothing. God is nothing. God is neutrality. God is zero force. God is the void. God is the space and the place that you think things up in, and it creates. So just as we said earlier, you remember the other side, but you don't really remember it. If you remembered it completely, you would be on the other side right now. You would be in the paradise that you are when you leave this meat puppet body that you're in. So you look at it like your soul is the path you're on. Your spirit is that which is your eyes that witness life. You're just eyes. That's it. You look at a ghost, and a ghost just has eyes, and it's a sheet. So look at that. That's your spirit. It's just eyes. It's just a witness. It's just watching. It's looking. That's the piece of you that can get stuck down here because it's witnessing and it feels like, oh, I'm guilty. I don't want to cross over. I don't want to leave. So you're like they depicted as a sheet with just eyes. So you're just eyes. Oh yeah, ghosts don't have mouths, do they? They do not have mouths. They just have eyes. Okay. And so he says the spirit can get stuck down here. So the spirit's not you. The spirit is a created material thing that you've created to witness life through. So if you want to look at it like you are witnessing life through your spirit's eyes, look at it like the real you is the Holy Spirit. You can call yourself the real spirit or the Holy Spirit or the ultimate spirit or the big spirit or the spirit and beyond. That is you witnessing life, but that's not completely you, because the you that created this reality is what you would call Christ. And Christ is the personality of God. The personality of God doesn't necessarily have the ability to see or experience, just think up things. So that Christ consciousness goes into that sheet and then looks through it. So look at the Christ consciousness as a golden ball. And that golden ball has many concentric circles around each other, like the tennis balls or the Tupperware bowls that we've told you about. And there's all these different layers of you, but ultimately it's a brain looking through those two holes of the sheet, looking, and those are the eyes. If you go up one further, you go into the quote unquote Father, and that is you. That is who you are. That is the ultimate aspect of you, individualized as a Godhead, as a God being. And that's the you that you are. And that you is experiencing life on a physical reality somewhere, someplace other than here as well, because you don't just have all of your energy put into one being, one investment. You have it in many, many different places. So if you think about it and you get removed from this reality, you're just going to quite simply go into another reality. You're not necessarily going to go up into the Father and be like, oh, look at these thousands of lives that I have, that I've created spirits with the Christ consciousness to go witness these lives through. You aren't going to do that. You're just going to fall into the next one that resonates the most with you, because your frequency is going to match it. So when this Channel's brother-in-law died, he went into a baseball stadium 7 weeks from when he passed and was able to say, oh, this is who's going to win the
World Series.
This is who's going to win the World Series, because he was ahead. He was ahead. So he wasn't necessarily in this time. He was just in another life. So there's so many different realities, so many different worlds, so many different places and spaces that it's almost exhausting and endless. And if we end up in a place when we pass where it's not a good place, where we put ourselves into like a purgatory, like your friend just did that we spoke of, we won't share his name, but he ended up there and he felt like he was there for 20,000 years. He felt like he was there for 20,000 years in that rock. And then when released from the rock was like, oh, wow, this is great. I feel wonderful now. And it had only been a couple of weeks. So when you leave here, you have those 40 days and 40 nights in the desert where you're trying to get through those. And when you get through those, sometimes you feel like it's taken a second, sometimes a million years. So it just depends on your perception of time. But there's no you that necessarily has the remote control. You have the remote control, but you don't realize that you have the power to use it. So
wait. When God says you have the power, wait a minute. No, somebody else has the controller. We're down here on Earth. We don't even know we're in the game.
We're somebody also there too.
You're talking about our higher self, like our fourth level or fifth or sixth or seventh level. What about our soul?
Rosemary goes, but you're already your higher self. You're already your higher self.
I know. We're already our higher self. We have a higher self in many levels. But again, who's controlling us through the game? I always assume it's my Big Joe. I figure he's got the controllers going. Come on, Joe, make that left hand turn. Oh no, you went right. How could you do that? Like, now I got to go down there and fix it. And so, I mean, yeah, your question was who's in charge of the controllers, and I think it's.
So they're saying it's the 12D version of us. It's the 12th dimensional version of us. But there's versions of us outside of that 12D version that are like just untouchable and like describable. It's not like something that you can like taste or touch or feel or whatever. It's above physical reality. But the highest part of physical reality Peter says is the fifth dimension, the top of the fifth dimension. When you get up out of the fifth dimension, we're just ether. We're just like dust. And we think of something, we go there, we go. So once we enter into this reality, it's like a game station, like where we're like a bunch of gamers or something, and we're playing that game. But the only problem is with that is we're not like, you picture someone playing a game and they're playing it and stuff like that, and you picture them like kind of being passed out, like that is in that movie, the where they become blue people or whatever. Can't remember the name of it. It was the boringest movie, but it was a good concept. But the
Avatar.
Yeah, Avatar. You think of us up there moving the remote control, but it's not. Our consciousness invests itself into our creation, and we fall completely into this reality. And we know that we still need to be in control. So there's a piece of us inside of us that isn't our higher self. It's us that is in control. So that's the whole idea behind, the old dying, the new being born again, being reborn, because when you're reborn, you become that you for just a millisecond. And that millisecond, you're reminded of the power you have, the control you have of your life, what you can do with your life, where you're supposed to be going, what you're supposed to be doing. And then all of a sudden it's like all of your beliefs that your parents say, well, you're stupid and your brother's smarter or your sister's smarter, or all of the beliefs that the people just put on you and names people call you just start just like slathering over that confidence of remembering who you are. So if you want to remember who you are, you must ask for the star that you are to enter into the throat area here, and just say, I ask that the star that I am enter into my soul, in my throat. So just imagine a star, like a falling star, shooting star, not a falling star, shooting star at that, a big white, like beautiful, bright, shining star, like a comet almost, coming towards you and landing right here at the throat, and just allow it to sit, and it'll start spinning. And as that spins, what it's going to do is it's going to begin to grow. And as that grows, it's going to get bigger than you. It's going to get bigger than your head. It's going to get bigger than your body. It's going to get bigger than the entire area around you, which we call the snow globe. It's going to get huge, and it's going to be around you 10 feet above, 10 feet below, 10 feet all around. And that's the you that remembers. And just think of the you that remembers not as a physical being. Think of it as a thought. Think of it as a memory. So you are a memory. So when you think of a memory, you can think, oh, and then you can think of that memory in detail and think, oh, when we went to this restaurant, and then go, oh yeah, and then remember so-and-so said this, and then remember so-and-so said that. And so you're getting into the memory. So where you are right now is you are in a memory. You are in a memory. You've gotten really into that memory, and you're in it. But when you pull yourself out of the memory and go, oh, wait a second. Oh, I was just in the memory. It'd be like reminiscing with friends and then actually ending up in
that lady said that's what she did. She said that when she was on the other side and she was going through a judgment, and God kept showing her different pictures where certain things happened in her life that were turning points, and from anywhere from being 2 years old to being 28 years old at that time. Mm-hmm. And she said that God is so cool because God will show you these memories of you being a 4-year-old riding your tricycle down the sidewalk. And she said, God puts you right in there. You're in there. You get to be there again. You're actually there with the knowledge that you're really in heaven, but you're getting to enjoy this again. Only briefly, not for a lot, but you actually get to go back into your body to be what you were when certain things in your life happened. And I thought that was really cool. And then she said the greatest thing before they sent her back was she was from Colorado, and they took her to this big, beautiful mountains all around and everything. There's this big, beautiful pasture. And out in the pasture is one of those great big signs. You think of a great big billboard or something. It's like a billboard right in the middle of this field. And it had this big screen on it. And she went up to it and she couldn't understand what it was. And God said, it had all these trails, like it's going off to different places or whatever. You get to go in there and see where your life would have gone if you would have made that left-hand turn. This is where you would have ended up. If you would have made the left-hand turn instead of the right-hand turn on this next one, this is where you end up. And it had like about 15 or 20 different paths.
Wow.
And all of them turned out to be lives. She said,
oh, they're all lives that she was living?
Yeah, we lived like parallel lives. Like, okay, I married Brenda. We had Holly. Fine. Mm-hmm. What would have happened if I would not have married Brenda?
Mm-hmm. You wouldn't have us.
From that point on, there's another dimension that my life goes on from there.
Yeah.
Whereas in this life, I'm going on from my decision or what have you.
Yeah.
But anyway, she says this great big map and it's so beautiful. And she felt God told her that it didn't matter what decision she made on it because they were always with her. They were just trying to show you what could have happened had you gone this way.
But there was a her that went the other way and that actually experienced it.
You never make, in other words, they're saying you never make the wrong decision.
Okay.
You actually do in our own minds here on earth. We go, oh my God, if I would have taken that job, I'd be a billionaire right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see how that life would have gone. But at the same time, God's with us all the time. Our soul, our team, our angels, everybody is with us all the time. So she said it was really cool. But every single path ended up right back to God.
Oh, right back to God.
Every path ended up going back, meaning God. That was her plan. Her
plan one probably took longer, one probably took less.
This one was a square map, and it kind of had all the plans. All the plans ended up at the same, right at a finish line, like a finish line. But I thought it was really neat. We can't get into anything, Marissa. Why don't you wrap it up? We've gone almost an hour.
Okay,
and,
real
we'll
quick.
Get into some kind of lesson tomorrow.
We do this thing called, in fact, I think when I get off here, I'm going to try and find it. There's a meditation that we did a long time ago, and it's an old recording, and it's all scratchy and weird, but it's such a good exercise, and I love it. It's called soul. It's like soul jumping or something, where you just go and you go on this diving board in meditation, and then you jump off, and then you land in one of your parallel lives. And it's quantum jumping. It's called quantum jumping, and it's a really cool meditation because. And I'm going to wrap it up is when I did it, I jumped down as before I had the kids. I jumped down and I ended up in this Asian lady who was like a marathon runner. She had a kid and she was taking the kid to school and picking him up from somewhere. And then she was on the work phone and she was doing all this stuff. She was really successful, really rich in New York. And by jumping into her for 2 seconds and seeing myself in the mirror and then jumping back up into me, I realized I want to have kids. She has a career. She has kids. She's running a marathon. She's in perfect shape. It's like, whether that's really another one of my parallel lives, it's not me. It was somebody else. I think that the quantum jumping is a really cool thing. So I'm gonna try and find that, and I'll post it on Patreon, guys. Go to Patreon, by the way. It's I've got a new Patreon that's $2 a month. It's just me. It's not the nonprofit, which is Discover Intuition. It's patreon.com/Marissa Morris. And then I also have Discover Intuition. So there's patreon.com Discovering Intuition, and then there's Marissa Morris. So if you want to support me, I've been posting a lot of channeled music, meditations. I'm going to do like when I meditate at night, I'm going to stream it live and let you guys meditate with me, and stuff like that. So I'm going to start building up that page. And it also goes into like a podcast too. So you can listen to all the music and stuff like that in your car or on your phone or whatever. So check it out.
That's MARISA MORIS at
Yep, after Patreon. So patreon.com
at Patreon. What is
it? It's www.patreon.com and then it's the /Marissa Morris. And then if you want to come to my classes and stuff like that, I don't post anything about classes over there. I just post like edited content that you can enjoy, like and listen to. Because I wanted to have a place where I could just go and listen to whatever I want to listen to, meditations, and not have to like scroll through all the posts and the announcements and stuff like that. I just wanted pure content. So that's what it is. Discoveringintuition.com. That one, it has like all the announcements for classes and stuff like that. And if you just join the list, at least you'll get announcements for class. So yeah, I guess we're done. Yeah, we're right at the end time. So anyways, okie dokie. Well, that was a cool conversation. All right. Well, I will see you guys tomorrow then. Probably not Wednesday, but we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Marissa. Take care. Bye. Have a good night.
Oh, bye, Luz, Pam, and then Rochelle. No, we